Back to another episode of Creating Madness Live. I'm your current host, Ethan Carboni, along with special guest host Gerardo Amaro. How are you doing today, Gerardo?
I'm doing awesome, Ethan. How about you?
I'm great. We have a great live stream / episode, depending on when you're watching this planned. Starting off with the title of it, Auburn has fallen just yesterday. They lost to Arkansas, and how are you feeling about that?
Well, as Illinois fans, I think we love to see Bruce Pearl's downfall, right?
Of course.
We're also the best blue and orange team in the league, and I think that game really proved that. Now, I think Auburn will come back. Every team's got their ups and downs. Arkansas was simply, well, not lucky enough, but they got to experience the dub, and I don't think that's gonna do much to Auburn though, except be a learning experience for them. This will fire them up. What's your take on it?
Agreed. And also, that was not yesterday; that was 2 days ago. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I thought Auburn was just better coached. They had a better all-around team. You had two players in double-digit rebounds. They cleaned up the boards real nice, especially because they lost the rebounding battle by 14 to Auburn, and they lost by 11 on the offensive board margin. So it was just overall tough basketball through and through the overtime. And obviously you have J.D. Notte, who carried them with 28 points. Did not shoot the ball well, but when it came to crunch time, 11 of 14 from free throws. As a guard, he had 4 blocks and 3 steals. He played great. J.D. Notte is an all-SEC first-teamer, and I don't think we've talked about him enough on the show. So who's your new number one? Auburn's fallen. I don't think you can keep them there unless we see Gonzaga or Purdue lose this week.
Well, let's see Gonzaga's last couple games. Yeah, I'm keeping Gonzaga too. Purdue has a strong case. No bias here.
Yeah, well, of course we don't have bias. Our team just got mollywopped by them.
Yeah, but we'll know the bias would be that's a good win for them.
It was a good win. I mean, if you beat the number 13 in the nation by
exactly. It's okay. We play Northwestern next. Ain't that right, boys?
Yep. So I'm thinking I'm going to go Purdue. At number one. I don't see any way possible, if you're Purdue, how you're not the number one seed unless Gonzaga makes that strong push. But
yeah, I mean, let's see who Gonzaga's got on the schedule next though. Pacific, St. Mary's, a ranked St. Mary's. Oh, okay.
Yes. Well, come on, St. Mary's just lost. St. Mary's is dropping from that ranking.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough for them.
It really will be tough, but at the same time, they should have it.
Yeah. I mean, what's the conference tournament going to look like? It's going to be St. Mary's, the other top seed there. Santa Clara, San Francisco. Okay. USD, BYU. Yeah. I mean, Gonzaga's going to look the same like they did last year.
Agreed. Obviously, this is a more mature Gonzaga team, I believe. However, you can never have Gonzaga winning it. I don't believe in my whole heart that Gonzaga will win the national championship this year. I don't think they have a shot. Obviously, every team has a shot, but it's just...
It also they lost a couple of games because I think a big part of their downfall last year was being undefeated and not having that learning experience. So they weren't actually, even though the schedule was perfect, they weren't playing perfectly as they could have if they had lost and improved on their weaknesses. So they got caught lacking versus Baylor.
Agreed. And then before we move into the bracketology from Joe Lenardi, I have a question for you. I mean, you talked a bit before earlier today, but a quote from John Rothstein's Twitter last night. I'll say it again. The NCAA needs to consider altering the first four and making the Tuesday/Wednesday games the feature of the final 8 at-large bids, thus allowing all automatic qualifiers to advance to the round of 64. And I agree. Like you said, better matchups to start the greatest event in all sports. I'm all in. I don't see any reason why you're putting these. I don't want to say crap, but the teams that are the 16 seeds that, if we're being 100% honest, you don't want to watch.
Yeah.
I want to watch because I love college basketball, and I'll stay up till 11 o'clock to watch a Hawaii CSUN game. But
yeah,
the average college basketball fan doesn't care. The 16
pundits
seed,
and gamblers will.
okay, yeah, true. But let's be honest here. The average college basketball fan. Had UMBC never upset Virginia, they wouldn't be like we already don't pay attention to 16 seeds, but we would be paying attention even less.
Yeah, no. I think 16 seeds should get a little more love. But
they definitely should.
Yeah.
I think that if we're really gonna sit and think about it, I like the idea of having the 12 seeds and the 11 seeds battle because we see a lot of 12 seeds upset 5 seeds. Like that's the biggest. Like that's I think the biggest upset margin besides the 9/8, which I don't even. It's an upset, but it's
only by technicality.
Exactly. So and imagine those 12 seed games. Imagine, just to dive into this bracket really quickly. Imagine you have BYU North Carolina already for one of the playing games.
Mm-hmm.
But then imagine if you just say
Florida, San Diego State. Ooh.
Yeah, Florida, San Diego State
versus Marquette.
Yeah. And then for the 11 seed games, you have Notre Dame, Miami, which is good. And then you have Davidson, Oklahoma. Like, those would be much better games to watch. I think any college basketball fan would agree than UNC Wilmington and Southern or Norfolk State and New Orleans. If anyone proves me wrong and you're a non-biased college basketball fan, be my guest. But I just don't see it. And speaking of the first four, I think it's time to hop into Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology, which was updated just 2 days ago. So, you ready?
Yes, sir. Got it pulled up.
All right. He had the top overall seed is Auburn. This was before they lost, but first team out, Creighton, last team in San Diego State. On the bubble, last 4 byes. Oregon, Notre Dame, Miami, Oklahoma, last 4 in. BYU, North Carolina, Florida, San Diego State. Of course, that Oklahoma game was before they beat Texas Tech. Oklahoma's looking a lot stronger now after that. Then first 4 out, Creighton, Mississippi State, Washington State, UAB. Next 4 out, Belmont, Memphis, St. Louis, Utah State.
Memphis.
We're not going to go into Memphis, but moving into the first 4, UNC Wilmington, Southern. Who do you got?
Man. If I knew anything more about 16 seeds, I feel like I could deliver a confident opinion on this, but I think I might relegate this one to you.
Well, UNC Wilmington, obviously, they're the best in their conference. However, if you're looking at Southern, they're also obviously at the top of their conference. I just think that if you are UNC Wilmington has more success overall, like in their history. They are 16-7 this year, 10-2 in their conference. They're in the Colonial Athletic, where in reality this year it's weak. You have them and Towson who are competing for it, and I'll take UNCW over Southern. And then moving to the other 16 side, just because let's get the boring ones out first. Norfolk State, New Orleans. I'll take Norfolk State. I've taken them in the past couple of weeks. I'll continue taking them. Gerardo, I know you have no care because it's a 16-seed game. So you want to just hop into the 212s?
No knowledge. Different from no care.
Florida and San Diego State.
I gotta side with the blue and orange bros on this one.
Any reason?
San Diego State had their moment a couple years ago, but who's on their team from that season? For example, let's see.
Matt Bradley, I believe.
Fair.
And then if you're San Diego State, right now they are coming off of 2 wins this past week. San Diego State beating San Jose State and San Jose State beating Nevada. 2 good win and a meh win. So
they also on last Friday lost by 1 point to Colorado State, a team we know is very good at Colorado State. They put up a fair fight.
Yes, they did. I believe that was in the final couple seconds too. But I'm gonna have to go San Diego State here. Only bounce that Florida has to me is Colin Castleton, and really, if the injury bug bites this team, I don't even see them in the tournament. And I think they have to rely on Colin Castleton's defense too much. These are 2 teams that would be very low scoring. I think the final score would be somewhere around 60 to 58. So I'll take San Diego State in the defensive battle.
You know what? Yeah, Mike White is also not exactly popular among Florida fans, I know, because his teams are known for being rather inconsistent. San Diego State, look like they've been doing a little better for a little longer, perhaps. Let's see, what's their record right now? 14-6. Okay, 6-3 in conference. 4th in the conference. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they make a stronger argument, and I might have to flip flop here. I'm losing credibility points, man. Dang.
Moving into BYU UNC. Historically, you choose UNC.
Yeah, but
this is
first year of the new coach. I mean, who else on? They have other people on their staff. Turnover.
But thing is, you have Caleb Love and Armando Bacot.
Yeah, you can't argue with that.
If either of these 2 players choke, it'll be tough. Whereas BYU has Alex Barcello, averaging 17 points on the year, 45 shooting from 3. Problem is that 45% shooting from 3, in some of the games that I've seen, he doesn't make a lot. Sometimes if he goes on a cold streak, he gets ice cold. I'd take UNC here barely, just because I wouldn't trust the BYU team to be able to get through without Alex Barcello, although they also have another guard, John Lucas, who's pretty good. It's just I don't think that if you set these 2 teams up, I think it's clear that North Carolina has more talent.
Yeah.
Moving into the first region, the Midwest, played in Chicago this year.
Ooh.
Yeah, Auburn and UNC Wilmington or Southern for the 1/16 matchup, and we're moving into the 8-9 because for obvious Seton Hall.
There's only going to be one blue and orange team famous for being upset as a 1 seed.
Yep, Seton Hall, Loyola, Chicago. Who you got?
It's tough to argue with Sister Jean. I must say. It depends on if they play on a Saturday or a Sunday, you know? Loyola Chicago, God's team, Sunday, That's what happened to us last year.
True. This Seton Hall team is also really hot. They've won 3 of their last 4.
Ooh. Okay. Against who? Let's see. Big East.
I mean, they beat Xavier yesterday.
I'll take that.
My only thing with that Seton Hall team, it's Jared Rhoden, Bryce Aiken. Then you have 2 other players that are good, and Kale and Yetna. It's just your guards need to shoot good. If your guards don't shoot well, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
And you're going up against the Loyola Chicago team, which is known for their defense. Although they did just lose to Bradley, yesterday.
you
So
gotta. I think it's law now that you have to do the sweatshirt.
yep.
But
But
you know,
yeah,
I
Loyola.
mean, did Loyola also lost Porter Moser over the offseason and Cameron Crutwig, who had been their rock ever since that Cinderella run back in all the way in 2018. Man, that was forever ago.
I
I,
know.
I feel like they lost a lot, and it's you know
I'll,
it's a season of tumult for them after going through change, almost like UNC. But you know,
although you do have Lucas Williamson, Brayton Norris, and Ryan Schwager, I believe, who are all very good players. It's just a matter of Loyola right now is fighting in that Missouri Valley, a conference that before the season could have had 4 teams make it. Loyola is going to have to just win the games they're supposed to. They didn't do that yesterday. Is if they get knocked off in their conference tournament, I see at least 3 or 4 teams in that, the same 3 or 4 that 2 of them they did not perform as expected. However, if one of Missouri State or Northern Iowa, or I have Drake in this personally, but if we see one of those 3 win the tournament, Loyola Chicago should still be in it, but nothing's guaranteed in March.
nope.
And then moving into an orange and white team, not the one that lost to North Texas last year, but Tennessee will have to play North Texas this year according to this projection.
Now, what seed was Let's see. What seed was Purdue was a 4 seed last
Yeah,
year,
yeah, and this
but
is
they're
a
also Purdue.
5 and 12 matchup.
Ah, so I'm gonna take Tennessee though. I don't know if I think they've looked decent. You think North Texas got the energy in them for an upset 2 years in a row?
I mean, here's the thing with North Texas. You have 4 scorers in Tyler Perry, Thomas Bell,
Yeah.
Mardes McBride, and Abu Ausman. All 4 of which are averaging double digits, and then you have a guy who's averaging just under 9 points in Reuben Jones. North Texas is the best team in the Conference USA for a reason.
That is fair. Now
I'll
look
take Tennessee
Tennessee's
over.
record.
I'll take Tennessee over them in a heartbeat for the talent, but I would not be shocked if this was a 5/12 upset.
Yeah, I think it's safe to take them, just not very confidently as we would with I don't know, Auburn and UNC Wilmington.
Agreed. And then next up, you have the 4 seed of Houston, who just recently lost to SMU. Marcus Sasserless Houston team. I like Houston. If they had Sasser, I had them as maybe even a 1 seed this year if he stayed healthy, but torn ACL's killer.
Get better soon, man.
I'm thinking that right now, Houston's a hot team. They did not necessarily have the game that they wanted to yesterday. But if they're able to contain the offense of Teddy Allen, then I think that they definitely have a great shot. I take Houston to win this one, but I think Houston would not be getting out of the Sweet 16 for sure. Hell, maybe not even around to 32 in this bracket.
Who would they be playing in that case? Would it be? It would be the winner. Yeah.
And then you got
Tennessee.
Xavier and Notre Dame. Who do you have here?
I will say Xavier. I'm not too confident in Notre Dame. I was at the game versus Illinois, but Notre Dame didn't look too impressive, and it says more about Illinois back then, but Xavier's just in a tougher conference. I mean, they got the higher seed for a reason. Notre Dame is not exactly, a title contender within the ACC. Scratch that. They're top of the conference right now. They're half a game ahead of Duke. Oh, you love to see it.
Agreed. And if you're Notre Dame, they're number one in the ACC right now, and they're coming off some very big wins. They have Clemson, Boston College, Wake Forest, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and Pitt left. They have an easy enough schedule where they should get a bump up even from that
My
11
goodness,
seed
they
to
could get
10.
ranked.
I'll take Xavier over them in this matchup, but
Still
we
not
saw
confident.
last night Xavier. If Zach Fremantle, lovely guy, great interview. Go check that out on our Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. But
Check it out.
but sometimes he can get a bit hot-headed on the court. I believe he fouled out yesterday. So I think that Xavier wins this if they can keep a level head and hit their shots. And then moving into, we get to talk about Illinois Wagner. Wagner, the best team in the Northeastern Conference. Illinois, the second best team in the Big Ten.
As much as I hate to say it, yeah, I think we got to hand over that throne to Purdue right now. But I mean, we're Illinois. We can't have us losing the round of 64.
Wagner's the best team in the Northeastern Conference.
That is true. But where's the best team in the Northeast Conference rank in the Big Ten though?
I'm gonna go with 6 or 7, maybe 8.
There you go. Strength of conference, not just rank within the conference.
Oh no, for sure. I was just trying to see if you'd pick against Illinois.
I'll do that in the round of 32.
But yeah, they're currently up big on Mount St. Mary's, but they've been unstoppable in conference play. So, obviously Illinois here, and their last loss was against Penn State by 20. I think Illinois could beat Penn State by 20.
Yeah, I mean,
on a good day.
Have we played them already, or do we only have one game coming up?
Yeah,
we have.
So. But I'm thinking Illinois would win this game. I think Wagner's a team which could upset a lot of teams. I think it's just Illinois having Kofi. It's a good matchup for all the mid-major schools just because they don't have the size of Kofi. But if you put them up against the Gonzagas, the Dukes, the Auburns, the Purdues of the world, might not be the best matchup. But moving into 7 and 10.
What happened with Drexel last year? Because they also didn't have a big man anywhere near Kofi size.
Exactly.
And any guy Kofi size, he just based off of that, you're not going to see him go to a mid-major, unfortunately.
Yep. Then LSU, Oregon. LSU's dealt with some injuries. That's why they've fallen to a 7 seed. Reality, they have the talent of a 3 seed. Oregon, preseason top 15 team, they've fallen majorly. And have they not had that little bounce back week or two?
Hey, still third in the Pac-12, though.
Very true. But LSU has Tari Eason, who's the best defender in the country.
Can't argue with that. And, they were one of the last undefeated teams in the league. How have they done since then? Well, let's check it out.
I'm going to have to take LSU here, personally. I just don't think it's possible not to take the Tigers in this matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it wasn't a matter of who do I take. It's how confidently do I take LSU in this case. Moving on to our next game, we got Kansas versus Longwood. Kansas, as you can tell, just got upgraded to a 2 seed in this last revision of bracketology. Now, do you think Longwood has any arguments against Kansas?
I think we move into Arizona Colgate. Ooh, Colgate. Yeah. Love Colgate. If they were a 15 seed, they'd be a lot more deadly. Moving into St. Mary's, Wyoming. One of my favorite teams to watch for college basketball this year. No, that's not a joke. The Mountain West is the most entertaining conference in college basketball by a long shot.
They did beat Colorado State, didn't they?
They've beaten all their teams in their conference at least once. Only team that they're tied 1-1 with is Boise State. They have Graham Ike, who is absolutely incredible. And then you also have Hunter Melendano, another player that's insane. Both of these two players are NBA prospects. We're going to see Wyoming Cowboys in the NBA.
Oh yeah.
So I think love St. Mary's, great team. I just think Wyoming has the firepower to beat them.
It'll be a good game though, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then want to move into everyone's favorite Big East team, Marquette versus I think we both said San Diego State. So
Yeah.
I think you got Justin Lewis, who's a beast and can do really anything on the court from offense to defense. So, and they're going up against the San Diego State team, which
Daryl Morcell. Oh man.
exactly
That name strikes fear through my heart. And I think it goes for both of us. But go Golden Eagles.
I mean, here's my thing. I'd choose Marquette, but San Diego State, it's just you're dealing with a team that is top 50 in the nation for defense. And they are good at what they do because only problem, Matt Bradley is their only guy that can score the basketball. They have a bunch of key role players that are averaging 5 or more, but in reality, you have one guy over double digits. You have one guy over 9 points. That's Matt Bradley with 17.7 points a game. If Marquette just can shut him down, the role players on that San Diego State team would need to have a hell of a game. But I'd take Marquette here. Moving into Michigan State and Chattanooga. Chattanooga keeps moving up the ranks. They're a high 13 seed in this case. Who you got in this matchup?
Michigan State. Some people might say that 4 is a little high for them, depending on their conference play. However, I think they still have potential, even if they did look a bit shaky in some of their conference games earlier. And also, like you said, with a couple of games, historically, you got to take Michigan State.
See, I've been riding the Chattanooga mock train for a few weeks now. And I just think having David Jean-Baptiste, Malachi Smith, and Silvio D'Souza, that 3 people core is enough. Because the guard play of Chattanooga, much more superb to the guard play of Michigan State. Michigan State has the forwards. I think Silvio D'Souza, if he can mature on his defensive side of the ball, I think he'll be fine. But I've taken Chattanooga to upset each time the past 3 weeks.
So. I mean, hey, I wouldn't be complaining.
Exactly. And moving in, Alabama and Miami.
How good is Miami? Because we know Alabama has a thing for beating teams they shouldn't and also losing the teams they shouldn't. Do you think that voodoo is going to carry on into March Madness?
I think it's got it, but the thing is, if you look at it from the simple fact of Miami has surprised everyone this year. Cameron McGusty's insane. Isaiah Wong, insane. And then you go to look at Alabama. It's going to be the battle of the guards. Alabama has the better guards. I'd take Alabama to win this, but I would not be surprised if we saw Alabama lose to Chattanooga in the next round, or Michigan State. If they, oh my bad, that's a Sweet 16 that they play them if they made it that far.
Yeah, I think you meant
Providence or Vermont.
Yeah.
Who do you got in this matchup? The Catamounts or the Friars? Friars have been on fire this entire year. Best team in the Big East. Only team that can beat them is UConn.
I think Vermont gets a bit of hype, deservedly, as one of the best mid-majors out there. But also, Providence is a damn good team within their conference, and they play in a damn good conference too. They're just too much to argue with right now.
Agreed. And then for the thing is, what Providence is really good at is shutting down guards. Ben Shengu averages 15.5 for the Catamounts. He'll be slowed down. Problem is, you have Ryan Davis from Schaumburg, Illinois, 6'8", forward. Providence ain't the best with stopping forwards. They can definitely do it. It's just they're incredible at shutting down the guard spot. Al Durham's going to have to lead this team well and make sure that he hits his shots. But I think they beat Vermont. And yeah, Indiana, Colorado State. This bracket was made again before Indiana lost to Northwestern. I think that us two, both Gerardo, have Indiana falling out of March Madness entirely by the end of the year.
I would not be surprised.
So, but assuming they make it,
I mean, hey, they beat Purdue. They have potential. I'm not gonna exclude them from still getting into March Madness, but I have actual likelihood of seeing them there. Don't know. Depends on if they can pull it together. Assuming they do get to play Colorado State, I think we all agree that Colorado State is still a very good team.
For sure. And the thing is with Colorado State, David Roddy and Isaiah Stevens, John Tanji, your three best players are guards. That's not too much of a problem. In most cases, it's just going to be a matter of, can we really see Deshaun Thomas take the bigger role and stop Trace Jackson Davis? What would you say here? I honestly don't know what you could say, because if you're Indiana, you have so many guards that you have to focus on, so much 3-point, so effort, so much the ability to drive and kick.
Firepower.
It's firepower versus Trace Jackson Davis and whichever role player decides to step up.
As good as Trace Jackson Davis may be, I'm going to have to go with numbers on this one.
Same. Colorado State for me.
He's not going to be able to clamp all three of those guys.
Baylor, CSU Fullerton. Baylor's too good.
Baylor OP needs nerf.
Yeah. They're falling down the bracketology, but
yeah, I mean, they're still Baylor. They're still up there. They were still number one, I'm pretty sure, in the rankings for a while, and that's after losing half their guys after winning the chip last year. Scott Drew he's too good. He knows how to basketball.
Exactly. And then Gonzaga, Cleveland State. Love me some Horizon ball, but
yeah, Gonzaga's going to get upset, just not in the round of 64.
Exactly. And then back to everyone's favorite conference, the Mountain West, putting them against the Big 12, Boise State versus Iowa State. Can Isaiah Brockington get it done against Boise State and their power? What do you think?
Well, I mean, let's look at Iowa State. How have they done lately? Because I know they were making some noise earlier, but I think it was more noise than a 9-seed merits. So you'd have to see what's happened recently. Oh, I stand corrected. No, they made noise outside of their conference. Okay,
exactly. Iowa State has fallen off since their big upsets. It's just a matter of they're not getting it done. They're keeping it close with some of these great teams. I'm not seeing them win these games.
Keeping it close? I don't see that in February. Let's see January.
Okay. It was more so early. It was more so in the January month that they were keeping it close. February's not been their month.
Yeah.
Iowa State has enough on their resume where if they can just go average for the rest of the year, they'll make the tournament, but we might see Iowa State fall out. I doubt it.
Yeah.
But I feel like
you're putting a well-rounded
I think you're putting a well-rounded Boise State team up against Iowa State team, which either can be one of the best offensive or defensive teams depending on the night. It would be a tough game to predict. Who are you going with?
Blue and orange.
That's going to be a common theme for you tonight.
I mean, hey, we already went over Auburn, Illinois, Boise State, Florida, which you ended up converting to them losing against San Diego State. Is UVA even in here?
Nope.
Nope.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Isaiah Brockington, Tyrese Hunter, Gabe Kalshur on Iowa State. And then you got the 4-person scoring tandem on Boise State. I take Iowa State here just
Really?
because I feel like Brockington is just too good. However, Boise State would not surprise me.
Yeah. Now, that being said, you're still not going to go with numbers because, I mean, you could say the same thing about Trace Jackson Davis versus Colorado State.
Difference is Isaiah Brockington is more of a guard, and Tyrese Hunt, like Iowa State has the guard matchup versus Boise State has the more interior or wing matchup, in my opinion at least. And then you have Villanova versus North Carolina. North Carolina, we mentioned, should beat BYU, but Villanova should beat either of these teams. I'd love to see Villanova beat North Carolina again and again and again in the tournament. I think that they would. I think Colin Gillespie is just so good, and I think really you're putting up a very, very good team in Villanova against a team that doesn't have passion in North Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, how much passion can you have after losing their coach, you know? And also, even then, I think for history's sake, regardless of how bad the game plays, it's still going to be a good game. It's almost like the Rose Bowl. Doesn't matter the gameplay. For some reason, it always just ends up being a good game every year. Except Bama Notre Dame. That one's kind of mid. But,
true.
You know.
Then moving into
thermodynamics.
Wisconsin, South Dakota State. See, this is tough for me.
I like South Dakota State.
I did. They're
the
Mike
Tom the GOAT, but
they're the best scoring team in the country at some points. And you have Noah Friedel. You have Baylor Shireman. As well as if you add Douglas Wilson, just those 3 players alone, that's gonna be tough. But I don't think any of them are gonna be able to stop Johnny Davis. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Johnny Davis's name is everywhere, you know, and he's doing it against the best of them.
I think just because you have the very much firepower of Johnny Davis, Brad Davidson, I think you've got to have Wisconsin winning this.
Yeah, on that note, what's the seniority looking like? How old or young is South Dakota State's team? Because we've all heard the jokes about Wisconsin, the age of Wisconsin's team, and as much as people make fun of them for it, at the end of the day, it's still a boon for them that they've had that chemistry for several years now.
Right. And then if you go to Davidson in the next round, who plays number 6 seeded USC, you have Fletcher Lawyer, you have Hyunjung Lee, I probably butchered that so bad, I'm so sorry. You have Luka Brachkovic, I probably butchered that too, as well as Michael Jones. All 4 of those players average from bottom to top 12, 15.5, 15.5, 16.
Whew.
And you're going up against a fraud USC basketball team that just nearly lost to Pacific. And you have Isaiah Mobley who's carrying it. Boogie Ellis is doing his part. And then you also have Chavez Goodwin. And you have Drew Peterson.
Yeah, see, Pacific was leading the whole time up until about 6 minutes left in the second half. At which point USC finally said, "What are we doing?" But, you know, Now, how specific doing within their own conference, for example? Let's see.
I think that if you're looking at this at face value, USC has been one of the most overrated teams in the country this year.
Pacific's 2-6 in their conference, 7-16 overall. I mean,
Exactly.
come on, USC.
They should have lost that game too. I think at face value, Davidson's the best team in the A10. So let's give them the credit where it's due. I think I'd have them up with the upset win here as they go on to probably play Texas Tech, as Texas Tech plays Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State is the leader in their conference. It's just, ugh. Texas Tech, aside from that horrendous loss last night to Oklahoma.
Man. Yeah, no, that's not a pretty one.
No, it was not.
You can say that it was on the road, but still.
And also, Jackson State just is coming off a loss as of today from Stetson. So they're 9-2 in their conference. And keep in mind, this is the same conference as Liberty. This is the ASUN.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if we see Liberty, Bellarmine, Jacksonville, Florida Gulf Coast, Central Arkansas, someone make a run in the tournament. The ASUN tournament is going to be a lot of fun because there's 3 to 5 teams that can win it. I'm personally going with Liberty here. If you take either Liberty or Jacksonville State or whoever in this conference, if you're putting them up against Texas Tech, if Tech were to lose in the first round to any team from the ASUN, Texas, Baylor, every single Texas Big 12 team would have a party.
Yeah. I completely agree with you on that one.
And then you got next up, 7-10, Arkansas, J.D. Mote versus Murray State, the best team that they've ever had.
Wait.
Who are you going to go with here? Because if you're Murray State, first off, you have a star who maybe isn't John Morant level, but you still have Tevin Brown, who is NBA credible. You have KJ Williams, who's also a star. And then you still also have a man by the name of Justice Hill, who's a very key role player for this team. You have a few guys on this team, including DJ Burns, who can get the job done, as well as Trey Hannibal. I think this Murray State team is so good, and you're putting up against the Must Bus and Arkansas State. No, in Arkansas, not Arkansas State. I don't think that they'd be able to get it done personally for Murray State. I think J.D. Mote is just too good for Arkansas. I take Arkansas with a squeak-by victory.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, how often have they pulled it together like they did last night? Because we've already seen what they can do. Auburn played better basketball and Arkansas still won. The question is going to be, can they carry that into the tournament?
I mean, thing is, like, they're beating the teams they're supposed to. They've been on a real nice run recently. I don't think, the last loss goes back to January 8th. And they have a tough-ish schedule with the likes of Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, LSU, and Tennessee again. They also have Missouri and Florida. In the rest of their season, I think that you need to at least win 3 games. If you can win 4, that'd be great.
Yeah. I'm not detecting any lies here.
Moving in to the 2:15, Duke and Yale. You have the ACC powerhouse versus the second best college in the country.
That ACC powerhouse is also second in the ACC.
I feel like Duke's always been that team where they have so much young talent that they're going to drop a few games at the end and they're not going to be able to close out. Obviously, I would not pick Yale to upset them here, but
yeah, no.
I would not. If Murray State ends up playing that dominantly and has the momentum, or Arkansas, I would considerably have Duke out in that second round.
Not a bad take. I mean, Duke has made national news because they got upset by, all the way back at the end of November. They got upset by Ohio State. Now let's see, when was their next loss? Uh, Miami, beginning of January. Miami's also a really good team. Florida State. How's Florida State doing this year?
Florida State's not
Six
the
and
best
seven in
this year.
conference.
We've
Ooh,
seen
yeah.
Florida State this year is not the best team,
Oh
and
well, a
I'm
bit.
thinking of it in the sense of right now.
Yeah.
Duke
Now,
is a
uh,
great team. They have great players, but it's almost like you hit the reset button at the end of every season.
that's the issue with the one and dones. Now, the is Yale as any is you think Yale is as good as any of the teams that have upset Duke this year? And I'm
Not
including
even,
UVA
not
when I
even
said
no,
that.
no. Florida State absolutely killed Penn, who's third in the Ivies right now.
Ooh.
So I'm not taking any Ivy League team to upset Duke in any stretch of the imagination.
Now that being said, all those other teams that upset Duke were really good teams. But 3 days ago, we saw UVA do it. What do you think?
That UVA team is an above average college basketball team. They're not a tournament team, is the problem. They'd have to go 5-1 in their next six, which is possible, at minimum 4-2, and make it to like the conference finals of their tournament.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
tough.
anything is possible. We saw it with the conference tournament last year. No one had Georgia Tech taking it, but they did.
Very true.
But the question is, will they?
Moving in to the 116 Purdue Norfolk State matchup. Yeah, Purdue moving into the 8-9. Wake Forest TCU. Wake Forest has been on the run up lately, and TCU has been falling. Who do you
Wake
got?
Forest 10-4 in the ACC, 20-5 overall, best overall record in the ACC. Wake's looking good, man.
They're looking incredible, and I mean, Alondis Williams is the most underrated player in college basketball. And then you follow him up with Jake Laravia and Davion Wilson. That trio is incredible, and Alondis Williams is the best player in the ACC as of like by himself carrying his team. Is if you take Paolo Banchero away from Duke, they're still going to be a top 3 team in the ACC, and they're still going to be a 5 seed minimum. Take Alondis Williams away from this Wake Forest team, they're not in the tournament. Alondis Williams is incredible.
Which raises a question. Do you think TCU can take care of him and then thus take care of the rest of Wake Forest team?
No, I really don't. I think TCU's been on the fall. I think as of right now, TCU is going to drop out of my tournament at this rate. Although, if I were to look at their schedule, I'm pulling it up right now. They have a tough schedule. You have Texas Tech, Iowa State, Baylor, West Virginia, Texas Tech again, Kansas, West Virginia.
Kansas twice in a row in 3 days.
Yeah,
Whoo-wee.
they need to win at least one of the. You need to win.
Ooh. That's brutal.
You have 9 games there. You need to go at least 4-5, which they're probably not going to do if we're being 100% realistic.
Yeah, I can't even see them making the tournament now because of that.
Exactly.
Sorry, Frog fans, but
you know what? They'll get there here eventually. Ohio State, Iona. Iona finally dropped their first conference game earlier this past week. Had Rick Pitino's squad managed to go undefeated throughout conference season, win the title, I would have had Iona as a 9 or an 8. They're going to be anywhere from a 13 to an 11, assuming they win their conference title, because it's going to be tough to make it if they did not. Iona is a phenomenal team.
That being said, I think not everyone on Ohio State's team is a freshman. Therefore, I think they're going to be extra cautious about avoiding upsets in the round of 64, given what happened last year. I
Agreed.
don't think they're going to want to allow that a second time.
You have
Iona's good, but
you have Tyson Jolly at Iona, who's carrying this team along with Nelly Jr. Joseph and Elijah Joyner, as well as the likes of Quinn Slinsky, versus Ohio State, who E.J. Liddell, Miles Burnham. It's going to be tough. This would be a great 5-12 matchup. I'll take Ohio State over them. Obviously, like when I really look into it for when I make my brackets, I'm probably going to have a lot more upsets, but
yeah.
A lot of these bracketologies, these lower seeds are falling for a reason. And I would not be surprised if I see Iona up 15 in the final 2 minutes against Ohio State, if this game were to happen.
Just because I have a prediction doesn't mean I want it to follow through. You know.
Yep. Then you got.
I'd be happy with that. Now
Texas,
we got
Ohio.
Texas versus Ohio.
Mark Sears is incredible. Jason Carter, incredible. They just got their butts kicked by Toledo. Ohio and Toledo are going to be battling it out. Buffalo, Akron, all these teams. This MAC tournament is going to be such a good tournament to watch as well.
I got amnesia, or did you forget to mention Ben Vanderplas?
Exactly. So I think that we're going to really sit here and look at it from the lens of, hey, for me at least, you just lost to Toledo. Do I think Ohio or Toledo or any team in the MAC could potentially knock off Texas? Yes, I do. I wish John was here so I could pick Ohio just to annoy him, but Texas should definitely win this. Yeah, the best defense in the country. If you manage to lose to Sears here and let an offensive mid-major team just destroy you, I don't think you'd be able to live that down as Texas fans or the team.
I mean, they still can't live down last year.
Very true.
I almost forgot about that. And another legendary upset that happened last year.
There's so many legendary upsets that happen. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah. Last tournament was great.
Then moving into the final 4 sets of games, you got UConn, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's on the rise, in my eyes, especially after that Texas Tech win.
Quite inconsistent, though, yeah?
Very, but here's the thing. UConn, do they rely too much on R.J. Cole? What do you think?
Well...
Because you also have Tyrese Martin, Adam Sanogo, who's a beast. I think UConn gets it done here, is a Sanogo, although Oklahoma's such a good defensive team. And you have Tanner Groves there, too.
We on the Porter Moser train?
Yeah, I'm not going to. I got to stick with UConn. I got to stick with the Big East.
Fair.
I don't have a single Big East team make it past the Sweet 16. But
not even Baylor? Wait, you said Big East, not Big 12. My bad.
Yeah. UCLA, Weber State, whatever you want to call it. If Weber State, I'm going to call it Weber State because that's just the way I pronounce it. Weber State, if they were to beat UCLA here, Johnny Juzang, I don't think you'd ever hear the end of it. I think UCLA would be able to destroy them, personally.
Yeah, I have no qualms about UCLA.
Jaime Vasquez has been one of the best players in the country. His stats are a little inflated, but you still have Johnny Juzang. You still have Julius Bernard, Ty Campbell. I think it's going to really be, can this team shoot the ball well? Is Johnny Juzang 36.8% from 3? Better than all.
The answer is yes.
That's better than all shoot from the free throw line. But and realistically, they'll beat Weber State, but how far can this UCLA team go? If they're shooting crazy shots and they're not making them, it's going to be tough. And then, yeah, your favorite team in the Big Ten in Iowa against San Francisco.
Our favorite Big Ten team.
Who would you have in this matchup? Keegan Murray or San Francisco?
Well, I mean, what's the matchup looking like? Think San Francisco's got anyone who can stop him?
Well, I think that it's more so they're going to be able to outscore, if anything, because you have Jamari Bouya, who's a beast, averaging 18-5 and nearly 4, as well as 1.5 steals and nearly a block a game, while shooting nearly 50% from the field and almost 41% from 3. As well as Johan Masalaski. And you also have Khalil Shabazz, and you have a few other key role players on this team. And then you're going up against an Iowa team that's Keegan Murray and a bunch of people that are supposed to be able to shoot the ball.
And none of them do, except maybe his brother. Jordan Bohannon. He's like Saquon Barkley now. He had a great season, 3 years ago, and people are still hyping him up, waiting for the return, but he's just not there.
Exactly. And for that reason, I think I'd take San Francisco, because if Keegan Murray just gets slowed down, that Iowa team is just
done for.
They're done for. Like, I'm going to Illinois, Iowa, March 6th. Gonna be tough. I mean, if you're Iowa, you're gonna have a lot to deal with in San Francisco or any team that you play. Especially because in the next round you got Kentucky, Appalachian State.
Do we really need to talk about this one? I mean,
I think
most people got Kentucky just taking the whole chip.
Exactly. Kentucky is my pick as of today to win the entire national championship. Oscar Tshiebwe is so good.
OP.
He's the best rebounder in the country. Just looking up Kentucky basketball, their entire team is incredible. You have Oscar Tshiebwe, Ty Washington, Kellen Grady. You have Keon Brooks. You have Severe Wheeler, David Mintz, Jacob Toppin, Damian Collins. We have so many great players on this team. I just think that if you're looking at it from face value, this Kentucky team should be able to make it to the Elite Eight minimum.
Oh, yeah.
And they can get,
counting on it.
If Ty Washington can improve his three-point shooting, as well as Keon Brooks in the tournament, and they can shoot well, I see no reason for us not to see Kentucky going deep into this tournament.
Yeah, and even then, from who can challenge it? Let's say they make it to the Final Four. Who can challenge them? They're going to be playing, who do you think, Duke or Zaga out of the West?
You see, if I was according to this bracketology, obviously, out of the West, you have Gonzaga, who can make it far.
Yeah.
You have Wisconsin, if Johnny Davis can actually, pull through.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, Duke. Obviously, you have a few lower seeds too.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Duke because they have an easy route as long as Texas Tech doesn't screw them over.
Yeah.
Or they have one of the easier routes for a 2 seed, at least.
Yeah. Duke Gonzaga in the Elite Eight is going to be real interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And looking at this bracket, one question before we end the stream. Looking at the bracketology, who do you believe could be this year's Cinderella story? Obviously, my pick's Chattanooga. I've been into that a million times. What's your pick as a special guest?
All right, let me go through this bracket again real quick.
And you have a few options. You have Wagner, New Mexico State, Longwood, Colgate, even Chattanooga, like I have, Vermont.
It hurts me to acknowledge Wagner has a possible Cinderella story.
San Diego State or South Dakota State.
But
Iona, who are you going? What's your mid-major team that you believe can go far? Potentially even Final Four level far.
Whew. Okay, I don't know about Final Four, but just going off, just reading from the top, we got North Texas. We've seen them improve. They got upset voodoo in them, right? We can't sleep on them. Wagner, like you said, railing their whole conference. Toothpaste University, they're playing Arizona. If they were playing anybody else, I would totally have them as a Cinderella story. But Wyoming, are we allowed to call 9 seeds Cinderellas?
You know what? Sure. I feel like Wyoming from beginning of the year, yeah. If we're being 100% honest, are you going to sit here and tell me that the average college basketball fan that's not been paying attention this entire year and only starts watching once conference tourney season hits is going to be taking Wyoming to go far?
Exactly. Like, they're already a Cinderella story.
Exactly. But I think that's wrapping it up for us. Thank you so much for joining me, Gerardo. And for everyone who watches, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Check out the Twitter at ATR Madness. Gerardo, you want to shout out your stuff?
This is all your show, buddy.
All right. Well,
Thank you for
thank you
having
all
me.
for tuning in. Thank you for joining me. And good night, folks.